hear the speakers, and what I would like for you all to do is to turn around and do that for the people behind you, okay? And then we'll be like one big organized group. Okay. Welcome, friends. We are here in Albany today to make sure our voices are heard. I am Winifred Schiff from the Interagency Council of Developmental Disabilities Agencies, and I'm joined by my colleagues from CP Associations of New York State, Developmental Disabilities Alliance of Western New York, the Alliance of Long Island Agencies, the ARC New York, the New York Alliance for Inclusion and Innovation, and the New York Association for Emerging and Multicultural Agencies. And together we are NYDA, New York Disability Advocates, and we thank you so much for being here today. Today we are going to talk about what's not in the governor's proposal, which had to be a mistake, right? Since everyone knows we are still in the midst of a workforce crisis and that 1 year of increases can't fix more than a decade of neglect. So we're here to tell the legislature and the governor how to make that correction. Last year's budget began to turn things around, but if we don't continue to make progress, we'll end up right back where we started. So let's tell Albany, finish what you started! You know we love you, Senator Mannion. Come on up.
What a pro. It's good to see so many friends in the room. Look at these images here, folks. We are in the war room, and we are at war. We're at war. We're at war to make sure that people have direct support professionals there to help them to live a life of dignity and respect and integrity. We have to do this.
Yes.
I stood outside of the Capitol about a year ago, and we were chanting, what do we want? 11%. When do we want it? Now. And we didn't get 11%. We didn't get it. We got 5.4. But I don't know of a community that can exist with flat funding for over a decade. And you know what happens when you do that? People don't have their day have. People don't have their com have.
People get mad.
They get where they live contracted. They have to change residences. They have to change their DSPs. And that creates great disruption. And it is not a life of dignity and integrity because we have not funded this system properly. So we are all here today to say that yes, 2.5% is a good starting point. But that is not where we're going to end. We are not going to end there. We are going to keep pushing forward to make sure that people don't leave their work to go to Target or McDonald's. We are going to support our DSPs, and we are going to do that because we need them. We deserve them. Decisions about providing for their family and providing care that's based on trust, that's based on respect, that's based on relationships. It is a vocation for our DSPs, and we have left them behind. So we are going to make sure that we get them the salary they deserve, and we get there by making sure there's 8.5% cost of living adjustment in the budget. So let's do it. Disabilities community. Let's go.
direct care workforce needs an actual salary increase, a $4,000 direct support wage enhancement to show that we recognize the life-preserving and life-affirming work they do. Our dedicated, talented, caring, well-trained staff are mostly women of color. Moms that have to work 2 or even 3 jobs to make ends meet because of the low salaries that we are able to pay them. And we have some men too, but they're in the same boat. And they must have thought that the direct support wage enhancement is a good idea too, because that is exactly what they are giving to DSPs who work for the state, doing exactly the same job. Actually, $4,000 for upstate and $6,000 for downstate.
Interesting.
So what are we? Chopped liver?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to equal pay for equal work?
Yeah.
Equal pay for equal work! Equal pay for equal work! Equal pay for equal work!
Quality.
Providing a wage. Excuse me? Oh, okay, come on. So I'll tell you the rest in 1 second. It's my great pleasure to introduce Senator Jessica Scarcella-Spanton from Staten Island.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Senator Jessica Scarcella-Spanton, and I am here to stand in support of the direct support professionals that we so desperately need.
Woo!
It's critical that people living with developmental disabilities have the support that they need, and they have the staff that they need to retain those workers within their organizations. We have amazing organizations across this entire state, but I really want to highlight Eden 2 and On Your Mark on Staten Island. They do amazing work for this community, and I will stand with them to make sure, and Senator Mannion and all my colleagues who are here with me, to ensure that you get the cost of living adjustments that you deserve, so you can keep your care providers, you can be in the facilities you want with the care that you're comfortable with. Woo! Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Scarcella-Spanton. Okay, so providing a wage that recognizes how important direct care staff are to the people they support not only shows respect for them, but also for those who depend on them to live the kind of lives that some of us take for granted, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. While last year's COLA was the first meaningful increase in over a decade, this year's proposed 2.5% COLA totally misses the mark. While the cost of everything has risen at an alarming rate, providers have discontinued programs and turned people away because there just isn't funding to support the services needed. What we need is an 8.5% COLA based on inflation that would allow us to continue to rebuild our overstretched system so we can properly support New Yorkers with IDD, how and when they need it. How do we thrive? 8.5! And the governor includes what is fair and right in the final state budget. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Mike Alvaro, CEO of CP Associations of New York State. Mike, are you near me? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. You've heard from folks already. I'm just going to make sure that everybody has the messages in their mind. 3 things. 1, a COLA. 8.5% is necessary to keep up with inflation. We didn't make that number up. That number is tied to an index. You know, hey, do I have to stop this car? Okay, hey. 8.5 is based on inflation. last July. You know how much you're spending more for food, groceries, insurance, health care. That money is necessary. The state has right now offered us 2.5%, which is great. It's a good start. We've got to build on that. But I'm sure the state also did not send a memo to all of the insurance companies and all of the people that you work with to tell them to take 1/3 or less than 1/3 of what their increases are. So we need 8.5.
Yeah, instead they gave it to their own pockets.
8.5. Okay. It's only three things. The second thing, we are looking for an investment in the workforce. An investment in the workforce on par with what the state has done for the same workers who provide the same services that we provide in 85% of the homes across the state. We are looking for parity on that issue. We want to make sure that the dollars are there for us. We invest in the workforce. They've not made an investment along those lines. Right now, the average salary for our starting workers is $16. State operated is going to be $22 to $23 per hour. We're looking for us to get to the same level. We're doing the same work. We should be paid at least the same wage. The third thing, and this is the most important, we don't want to keep coming back to these events and yelling to be heard, to be included. We are people supporting people. We are part of New York State. The governor has a dream for New York State. We are asking the legislature to make sure that we are all part of the New York dream.
That's right, Mike.
So, three things. COLA, invest, make us part of the dream.
Make us part of the dream.
Thank you.
Okay, next it is my great pleasure to introduce a longtime champion for all people's rights and our new chair in the Assembly, Assembly Member Rebecca Seawright. Thank you, good afternoon. And I also want to invite all my Assembly colleagues here, I've seen a few of you, to please come up here. Assemblyman Santa Barbara. Seawright, so honored and pleased to be the new chair of People with Disabilities. Welcome to the New York State Capitol today. Just last month, we debated and passed the Equal Rights Amendment to amend our New York State Constitution prohibiting discrimination, adding protections for people with disabilities. I'm proud to have sponsored that bill in the State Assembly. It will be on the general ballot in November of 2024. Now it is budget season, and New York simply cannot function with today's workforce crisis. New York's IDD not-for-profit agencies are facing excessive and increased costs, causing wage stagnation. Our best workers are fleeing for better pay, and this has to be addressed today. Paying IDD provider professionals less than fast food and retail workers is simply unacceptable. The not-for-profits are our lifeline. Without them, people will be at severe risk. A 20% vacancy rate and 30% turnover in agencies puts our people in danger and takes away right to autonomy. Growing up, I had an aunt with severe challenges. While she had the support of a loving family to care for her needs, we learned firsthand how important and essential professional support is to the well-being of everyone. Together, we need to show our governor that we need a qualified, competent, reliable, responsive, and fully funded workforce. Woo!
Thanks, everybody. Friends, are you out there? Friends, are you out there? We've had this fight year after year. Everybody knows how hard it was through COVID. I want to thank, I see Wildwood, Living Resources, my ARCs, Schenectady and Liberty ARC. Are you out there? We just had our virtual town hall meeting and we talked about the issues. We talked about the 8.5%. This budget falls short. This budget falls short of what we need. We are fighting not just to maintain, but in so many cases to restore positions that were lost through COVID. We're lost all those years when the funding just wasn't there. It's time to make that right. We have an opportunity to do that, and we have all of your voices to help us. We need to get this over the finish line. You're always going to have my support. I come at this as a state legislator. I regret my son Michael couldn't be here. He's at his program right now. I can't imagine him not being able to go to that program. How much it means to him, how much it has changed his life. I know what direct care is about because I've lived it. I've lived it since my son was born. Go ahead. Ups and downs. We've gone through the turnover. We saw when staffing positions were vacant and no one was there. We saw how much that is devastating for families like mine. We cannot have that happen anymore. This has a huge impact on our community. This budget needs to be about investing in people. There's no better way to do that than to invest in our direct service professionals. Let's get it there. Let's get it there.
Next, we will hear from Lisa Alger, CEO of Able2 in Western New York and Southern Tier.
No, it's funny. New York's literal saying is Excelsior, onward and upward. Well, how about onward and upward to the pay for DSPs?
Wow, this is a hot crowd! I don't have a voice of a senator or an assembly person. I am here today in different roles. And I had really had hope that we'd be having an entirely different conversation this time than we had in the fall in this same room. But alas, we find voluntary providers and their DSPs left behind once again. The dream is not a reality yet. We serve 85% of the 130,000 persons with IDD in this state and their families. And the proposed 2.5% COLA falls well short of current inflationary trends, and it represents a glaring inequity in the compensation of the 13% overall increase going to state employees doing the same work. So as a CEO, I am among those 40% providers who have idled or decreased programs due to insufficient workforce. And we're spending thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars managing the revolving door of recruitment, training, and leaving.
No man left behind! No DSP left behind!
That leaving is what happens within a workforce when they tell us they cannot afford to show up day in and day out for a wage that cannot reliably both pay the rent and put food on the table. And simultaneously demands endless hours with constant training and the emotional, physical, and psychological fortitude of a frontline crisis manager every day. But I am not just a CEO here today. I'm also here as a guardian who watched the young woman I called sister lose her life to cancer in this last year while living at an IRA surrounded by the DSPs who supported her and myself through her last breath. That
That group of people who watched over her, understood her words, handled her anxieties, comforted her, administered her medications, managed her appointments and her treatment schedules. They utilized specialized health equipment. They transported her to all of her lasts. And all of that, along with so much more, that the 40 years she knew DSPs as a part of her family, demanded skill and constancy. And those skills were not a fluke. They weren't a lucky coincidence. They weren't the right people who happened to show up for the job that day. They were possible because these staff spent long hours learning and practicing skills of person-centered approach, community advocacy, facilitated and mechanical communication, safe body mechanics, specialized equipment, monitoring dietary consistencies, wound management, along with being certified in behavioral management techniques, med administration, and adaptive transportation safety. The dictionary tells us that a professional is someone engaged in a specified activity as one's main paid occupation rather than a pastime. Are we the state that believes the care and skilled support of 130,000 people is just a pastime?
No. And I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And are we willing to ignore continuously what happens to our overall economy when families need to leave the workforce themselves because they can't find or keep access to skilled, continuous workforce that will support their family member? 30-plus years in this field has taught me that perhaps the only thing that distinguishes all professionals is that they are people who stay.
Yep.
And they show up with the intent of increasing the skill and the mastery of their chosen field. And this needs no more glaringly apparent example than the work done with people with IDD as DSPs. The deep, meaningful knowledge required to build and sustain such a workforce requires professionals. But to do that, professionals need to know they can afford to devote themselves to that work, to the work of showing up. They need to know there's value for their investment of time and learning, doing long hours that end up meaning they can't take on a second or a third job to make those ends meet because the demands of being a true professional mean it's not possible. The largest percentage of our workforce are women and single parents. Over and over they tell us, I simply can't afford to stay. So providers and families are experiencing significant turnover. The voluntary providers are supporting 85% of the people. We need to keep talking about professionals, but we need to start talking about compensation as though this is not another side hustle in our minimum wage gig economy. Professionalizing a workforce takes dollars and purposeful action steps. Governor Hochul quoted Shirley Chisholm, "You don't make progress by standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. So you make progress by implementing ideas."
Then do it.
So we're asking our senators and our assembly persons today, telling them we're not here whimpering or complaining. We're saying we need to respectfully call on you to show up and lead the way for the ideas of fairness and equity. 8.5%. Workforce investment. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
Let's go DSP!
We have some amazing champions in the assembly, and they have a really tight schedule, so I want to make sure that they get a chance to speak to you. And the first person I'm going to introduce is Assembly Member Harvey Epstein. He is
First of all, thank you all for being here in Albany. We need you here.
Amen.
The reality is there's competing interests in so many things. and to highlight the problem, you need to be here and you need to come back. We need to tell the governor how important this is, how important you all are for our state, how important the services are to the people we're serving.
Yes!
And until she hears it time and time again, it will not rise up. So who's committed to coming back? Who's committed to coming back? Because to get it done, we're going to have to get it in our one-house budget. You're going to have to get people like Assemblymember Gunther and I to support you, but you're going to need to get the governor on board. She's to see you time and time again. So thank you for being here. Thank you for fighting. Please come back and let's fight together to get it done. Thank you.
Because I'm a registered nurse and I work side by side with DSPs, and you know what? Hospitals, all these agencies could not exist without you. 8.5 is little to ask for when you're saving lives every day. Every day. It can happen. Kathy Hochul, are you listening? Are you listening now? I'm angry. I'm angry. So we are going to make sure she doesn't get his way. The Senate and the Assembly needs to stand up for you. And let me tell you, I'm going to stand up for you. I'm going to stand up.
Became my second family. I'm still in touch with many of those people. And they are the reason that I'm here before you today. At that time, I made twice what minimum wage was. And that's why I was interested in accepting the job in the first place, although of course I fell in love and would have done it for anything, but you know, I earned twice minimum wage. So I'd like to bring up another former DSP who worked at Willowbrook, who was also a dad, Michael Bolton. Come on up.
Interesting.
I'm going to sit.
You want to stand on the chair?
Wow. Okay. So, I'm glad everybody could make it today, but I have to tell you, when Winnie asked me to come and do this, I realized how many times over the last several years I've done this, and I've seen all of you people here, and unfortunately, we're not really the ones that need to be in here. We need the people who don't get it to be in here.
Agreed.
But here I am again, asking for raises for DSP. Again, not a bonus, the crumb that they threw at them in the last couple of years,
Yeah, right.
but a real raise, permanent in their salaries. As Winnie said, I'm here as a former DSP. I actually worked on the grounds of Willowbrook, telling you stories to color your hair, which I won't. But more important than that, this is why I'm here. For my son Justin, who's a 35-year-old young man who has multiple disabilities and is dependent on DSPs for everything in his life. My wife Randy and I were both very happy that we can say Justin leads a wonderful life. In his residence, lives in a residence, has a great life, but it's because of a lot of past and present DSPs who give him all kinds of attention and love. Because we know that a lot of the DSPs literally love what they do. That's why they still do it. I'm also speaking to the ever-growing concerns of hundreds, if not thousands, of other parents and relatives who care for their loved ones with IDD, as well as all the self-advocates. We all worry about the same thing. There's not going to be anybody there to work with our loved ones, not because they don't want to, because they can't afford to, because of the crappy wages that they get paid. Unfortunately, everybody here knows that DSP jobs are not minimum wage jobs. They have enormous responsibilities, enormous. They do everything from medication administration, taking people on medical appointments, helping individuals learn to do ADL skills, sometimes doing those ADL skills for them, cooking, cleaning, laundry. I could go on and on. As well as taking people into the community, which we all know for a lot of our kids now and relatives isn't happening because we don't have enough DSPs because they don't make enough money.
Exactly.
So they're not being equitably compensated. They are paid at or near the minimum. Many of you have heard me speak before. I started in the Stone Age of 1978. It's almost 45 years ago. 45 years ago. The minimum wage was $2.65 an hour. I had no experience, but I got hired to be a DSP at $5 an hour. That's 47% above the minimum. Imagine if we did that now.
We wouldn't have problems, that's for sure.
Many of my colleagues, like Winnie, my wife Randy, and many others here, like I said, they all started in the same time frame as DSPs. They all got paid more than the minimum. And we said, oh, this is really a good job. I love it. And I can actually make a decent living. So we stayed in the field our whole life. It's not that government doesn't know that DSPs are not paid enough, because they do. That's why legislators gave state DSPs a raise last year, and you just heard one of them actually say it, 13% this year. And they deserve it. But so, and it's a big but so do the DSPs working for the private, not-for-profit provider. That disparity is insane. As I've said many times in the past, but it bears repeating, DSPs have so many responsibilities that yet they are inadequately paid. And this is a reflection which indicates that our society's moral compass is way off.
Damn right it is.
It is also an indictment. They may still be here, but it's an indictment of our elected officials.
Yes, it is.
Who should be embarrassed.
Yes, they should.
And are not currently fulfilling their sworn oath and obligation to protect some of their most vulnerable citizens, individuals with IDD. If government valued this critical job, DSPs would be paid accordingly.
Yes!
It is incumbent upon legislators and government to come together once and for all and correct the inequity in DSP compensation and pay all of them properly for everything they do.
Yes! Thank you, Michael!
He's right though, they're practically nurses and they get paid crap.
And now we get to hear from somebody who is a DSP right now, Jamie Budlong, and a person she supports, Jameen Scales. You guys here? Oh, come on in.
We just have to get through.
Oh, come on up.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Hi, my name is Johnny Scales. Okay. Hi, my name is Johnny Scales. You didn't know this. I'd like to thank my DSP for coming here and supporting me. And I also like to thank you guys for increasing funding. I would like to talk about funding. We need more funding because, like, you know, people in the world are losing funding and they need, like...
Because they didn't invite you to speak.
Right. They need more funding to do more fun stuff and road trips. They need to do more... Okay. They need to do more funding for road trips and stuff like that. So we're gonna budget our money. We're gonna save up, raise more money, and we're gonna do more fun stuff.
Yes.
Let me tell you my story. So I've been waiting